Welcome back to the Justice Factor. At least 36 boys who attended traditional initiation schools in Mpumalanga and Limpopo have died in the past 2 weeks. Police say no arrests have been made. These young initiates allegedly died due to excessive bleeding and dehydration. Who's responsible for the deaths of these young people? Should initiation schools be banned? My guests are NKOSI MAHLANGU of the Mpumalanga Provincial House of Traditional Leaders, MBUYISELO BOTHA of the South African National AIDS Council Men's Sector, and SETLAMORAGO THOBEJANE, General Secretary of CONTRALESA. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. I have to say, NKOSI MAHLANGU, THOBEJANE, both of you, shouldn't you be charged with murder because 36 young people have died in these schools and you're not doing anything about it? The responsibility is yours for opening up these schools. I'll start with you, NKOSI MAHLANGU.
Thank you, Justice. I wouldn't say that your statement is correct, that we are doing absolutely nothing about what is happening. There's quite a number of measures that we've started as the House of Traditional Leaders, where we've set up a task team that is investigated, that is currently busy investigating. We have a team as well that comes from Ingoma Forum. Ingoma Forum comprises of the police, it comprises of health practitioners, it comprises of forensic pathologists. All those people are on the ground with us.
I'm sorry to stop you there, but a task team when 36 people have died?
After the fact, that's a sad thing. I mean, there's a crisis. And off air, I was saying, Hobokoshi, both of them, that in fact, this is a real crisis. And I don't think we're in a justice, with due respect, I don't think that we even need a task team. Because we know that people have flouted laws. We know that people have done things that were illegal. And I don't think that it is wrong to even say that people must be charged, people must be arrested, people must be prosecuted. Because justice, 36, it is in fact a shame. And we can't allow culture justice.
He's absolutely right. 34 people get killed in Marikana and we call it a massacre. 36 kids die in Mpumalanga and Limpopo and we start a task team. Surely that's wrong.
I think the reality is, yes, indeed, we are taking responsibility for all what have happened because they happen within our own institution. However, the point that we always wanted to put them forward is we are at the beginning of, initiation season, encouraging our leaders that they must make sure that they are training whoever is going to have this, they put up structures that they should become accountable. I think in the case of what has happened now, it might have been, oversight, that an oversight structure was not in place.
With all due respect, that can be true. I have pieces of paper here showing me that in 2001, 9 kids died in these initiation schools in Mpumalanga. As far back as I grew up in the 1980s, I remember people saying, Mutu jile ketaba. People were dying in those schools. So quite frankly, it can't be right that people are still dying today.
No. I think the point that I'm trying to say was to say, you are right. It might be, naturally happened that people might die every time. But I'm saying, as traditional leaders, we were supposed to make sure that prior to the season to be starting, we should have been set up in proper structure to play oversight and making sure that there is a standby emergency call centers that we are
NKOSI MAHLANGU, what THOBEJANE is saying that you two have failed as an organization nationally in your particular area in Mpumalanga.
I would want to say that there are structures that we had put in. If you look at what was done previously and compare it with what has been done with this initiation school, first we formed what we called Ingoma Forum that came up with standards that were supposed to be met together with Mahoshi, whereby we had agreed that each and every child that had to go there had to be screened medically, where we agreed that we would have medical practitioners and doctors that would assist us, that would work with us closely, of which something that had never been done before. And where we also made sure that within those pushes, as Khoshi was talking about, an emergency center, we had clinics that were set up there in those in those areas. It was something that had never been done before. So we're trying to make sure that
you failed because 36 kids have died.
Look, yes, 36 kids have died, but the interventions to us, they've assisted us a lot, because there is a lot of emergencies that we had to deal with, and of which those emergencies were taken care of. And even currently, we are going in each and every school now, making sure that people are taken care of. You'd find that in other instances, a child has a chronic illness. He was supposed to be taking medication. Some parents may not have given those medications, and we are making sure now.
I'm going to give MBUYISELO and BOTHA a chance to respond.
Yes,
to that.
now we are making sure that those that are not getting their medication are getting their medication as it has been.
But you see, when a justice, it's like closing the stable when the horse is bolted. You are saying to me that you were taking these measures, when in fact these measures should have been taken, even before. So I think that when a justice, that there is a crisis of leadership, and that we must accept and say that when we move forward, and we know this is a season of initiates, we know that I'm sitting here with you, that we'll meet again, we'll have another program, that is going to talk again about these deaths. And we're going to hear Khosi, MAHLANGU saying, we've taken measures. And the question then is, what measures have you taken? Probably justice. It's about time that, whilst I would not encourage throwing the baby with the bathwater, but maybe it's about time to ask the question, shouldn't we allow, medical staff, shouldn't we allow people to go in there and ensure that kids do not die unnecessarily, and uncalled for? Because when you see justice, the difficulty with us in our country is that even this culture must evolve. What it means is that,
I want to come back to that point. But THOBEJANE, tell me, what are you going to do about this now?
What we have done immediately after, the death of these children, we have been, communicating with our leadership in the province. We have spoken to the Minister of Health, and we are trying to bring, on board some measures that will then intensify our strike.
Tell me people are going to be arrested, people are going to go to jail.
You mean about what has already happened? I'm sure you are aware that the police are investigating, and we are saying if there are elements of negligence, elements of, derelictions of responsibility.
No, 36 people have died. Clearly
no.
there are.
I think
you're saying
justice,
if.
it might be wrong for you to say because 36 people have died, immediately you conclude that somebody is guilty. It might be,
if
yes.
36 people die in this studio,
I should not sound arguing like an irresponsible person, but you know that every day we do bury people, so we cannot.
But you're not suggesting that
we cannot say state should then be arrested because state is responsible for everybody's health and life. So let's be honest and then be genuine when we are dealing with this matter. Indeed, there is a lot that we need to do to improve and protect this particular institution.
But I'm just saying that, THOBEJANE, these are not unnatural deaths. These are deaths that could have been, could have been prevented if we took, measures to ensure that we know responsible leadership comes into play. THOBEJANE, we know that the schools that where these young boys have done, most of them, are charlatans run by people. Why don't we arrest them?
Irresponsible behavior. Derelictions of responsibility, people failing to do what they should have been done. The finding from the police says so. We are then saying, indeed, they must be arrested.
NKOSI MAHLANGU's brother opened up, allowed to be opened up in his jurisdiction, initiation schools, after government said, no, do not open these up. Are you going to take action against his brother?
I'm not sure. I may not answer for that until I heard the side of this particular. But if
the story was in the newspaper.
No, unfortunately, the newspapers always take what they want. They don't take things that are happening. They don't even talk to us. We are leaders of this institution.
They spoke to that chief. But NKOSI MAHLANGU, what do you have to say about the fact that traditional leaders, many of them close to you, like your brother, has opened up schools despite government saying, no, do not do this?
A traditional leader does not necessarily open schools. Maybe let me just...
He allows in his jurisdiction for these schools to be open.
People would come to a traditional leader and say, our traditional leader, our kids have grown. And once kids have grown, we know that in our culture, every 4 years, that initiation process has to happen. And when people practice their culture, for you to change that culture, it's a process. You can't come drastically and say, today I am stopping you, because people are going to do it uncontrollably.
Maybe
so
it's because you don't have a bite. You don't punish people, and you don't say, the laws of South Africa say, if you break this law, some of the precepts that you set up in 97, 2001, 2007, you don't punish those people, and that's why they can get away with saying, oh, Nkosi MAHLANGU, I can flout your laws. I'm going to start the charlatans he's talking about. I'm going to start it.
We wish no consequences. No, we wish that because you always have so much opposition to the institution of traditional leadership. When we say we must be given proper legal powers to be able to look after some of these things, and you'd always find challenges. We don't have too much bite as we should be, and that's what we are, hoping for. That if we could be able to convince the lawmakers and everybody else to be able to give us proper authorities, as people had before, where they could stand action against people that would flout the law.
Maybe you're condoning these things being done in your name.
No, we're not condoning it. We are fighting it. We are taking action where action has to be taken. I mean, currently we are busy with the institution discharge team, where we are compiling a list of those schools that are not properly registered, and government will take action against those.
Okay, gentlemen, MBUYISELO, BOTHA and SANAC have called for, why is it we're not saying to these kids, it's okay, you can go and learn the rites of passage, how to be a man and so forth in the mountain, but from now on, before anyone goes there, you go to the clinic and you get circumcised there. Why aren't you opting for medical circumcision?
Look, I had said that we are working very closely with doctors. And our culture, circumcision is a very small part of our culture.
But 36 people are dying of bleeding and dehydration. So why don't you take that out of the equation?
We don't prevent people from going to hospital. I mean, people in our area are getting circumcised on a daily basis.
Thank you. THOBEJANE, are you going to tell people as CONTRALESA, go and get your circumcision done by a professional?
No. We are always said circumcision as part of the broader, rituals of the whole system should be done by well-trained and invested people who understand this thing. Whether medical or not medical, the fact of the matter is it should be done by the right and the person who understands.
Too many people are dying. 36 people are dying.
Yes,
so let's
but
take it to a doctor.
On the 36 numbers, we have been informed that some of those 36 have been operated by medical professionals. So we should not think that it is solely traditional healers who are doing these things alone. We are having a combination, because we have realized that we are running out of people who have this type of knowledge.
I haven't heard of people dying in hospitals because they went in for circumcision.
No, but there hasn't been an investigation where you've ascertained that. I mean, this is a speculative
no, I know that 36 people have died in your yard, in your compound, as you were running an initiation school. I haven't heard a scandal about a South African hospital, whether in KwaZulu-Natal or wherever, where people have died because they went in for circumcision.
No, but there could have been incidences where people got home and they passed on. No, you can't say
I'm saying there are 36 people who have died in your jurisdiction.
Yeah, but they died in our jurisdiction.
Are you taking responsibility?
Yes, we are taking responsibility.
They should.
And yeah, we are taking responsibility. I mean, there may have been other laws that may have been flouted, but we are making sure that we are coming up with corrective measures. That's why we are involving medical practitioners.
I was going to say, Justice, maybe as a country, we need a national dialogue as to, is that the only place where people can then define themselves as men? Are there no other definitions that we can give to ourselves?
Is that the only place men can people can define themselves
where people
as men?
are dying?
I'm sure when we are talking about coma, is the only place. There's no hospital that performed coma. Coma can only be performed by the traditional communities that practice that particular. There's no person who gets trained to practice coma in a hospital medical,
no,
places.
that's
but there is part of that, surgical part that required people with knowledge.
Okay,
vast knowledge.
What MBUYISELO is asking is this: we have rape, we have murder, we have crime in this country. Isn't it a lifelong issue to teach a man how to be a man, a proper man, and not saying, okay, you go to the bush for for
I'm sure
2
that
months.
you can start it in the township, but not in our place, because our place have got its own way of doing things.
Do we
you
teach,
can do it.
do we teach men to respect women
If that
in
was
these schools?
the best way to go, we wouldn't have the township mushrooming of crime that we are having. But we are
have
having
crime-
it
we have
because
crimes. We have crimes in the rural areas. We have
we
36
do have,
people dead.
but if it's not. I'm sure you are talking about a seasonal, crime. We are talking about perpetual crime in the township.
But it's no excuse, it's no excuse whether it's seasonal.
Gentlemen, we've run out of time.
It's no excuse.
NKOSI MAHLANGU, thank you so much. THOBEJANE, MBUYISELO, BOTHA, thanks so much. After the break, we slam our loser of the week and congratulate our winners. Stay with us.
News that moves. ENCA.com.